What is up, everybody? Hello and welcome to our YouTube live with the cast and the writer, producer, director of Sniper Grit. Thanks for stopping by, everybody. I see some fun friends in the chat. Thanks for coming on out. We'll chat for maybe an hour and just share some stories and catch up like old friends do, and then we'll try to take some questions. So I won't be able to see everything flying by in the chat. So if you want to save your questions for the last 20, 30 minutes or so, I'll definitely be able to see them as they come in. So let me introduce our wonderful panels. And if you've watched the movie, you'll be very familiar with these beautiful faces. We've got the lovely Lady Death, Luna Fujimoto. Am I saying this right?
Yes.
Fujimoto.
So perfect.
This is Luna, our LD. And our resident arse kicker in this movie, for sure. She put me and Ryan to shame in this one with her hand-to-hand combat skills. So, hi, Luna. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. She's Luna's joining us all the way from Japan.
Yeah, Tokyo. I'm in Tokyo, and it's almost 9. Oh, it is 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm happy to see you all.
17 hours ahead.
Yes.
That's a commitment.
So I'm living the future.
Yes, these are the future. What happens tomorrow? I'm dying to know. I'm dying to know. I'm glad you could join us, Luna. We've got the big three with us today. That's going to be really fun for everybody to get to meet and know you. So that'll move us over to Ryan, the second most beautiful cast member. How you doing, Ryan? Agent Zero. What's going on, buddy?
Hey guys, I'm doing great. It's nice to see your faces again.
Yeah. Ryan's getting over a cold. He called it the plague.
Yeah, it's
he's looking pretty good for plague.
It's not bad. It's not too bad. Better now than I was a couple days ago.
Right. Obviously, if you've stuck with us for the last few movies, Ryan plays Zeke Rosenberg, aka Agent Zero, and him and Brandon Beckett have a wonderful bromance, brothers in arms, and everything else too, and awesome to have him back in Sniper Grit, of course, leading the way and with all the ha-has, buddy. So thanks for joining us from Vancouver, man.
Yeah, man, you bet. It's I'm curious why you're wearing the beanie. It's cold up here, man. It's almost reindeer season.
You know, it's either baseball cap or beanie season for me. Since it's been a little bit chillier in LA, we had some rain this week. It was nice. Nothing like Vancouver, of course, but it was. I don't know.
It snowed where I am today, man.
Yeah. Oh, and right on cue, we've got. Hello, Mr. Oliver Thompson. We're just doing introductions, my friend.
Hi, how's it going? Sorry, I'm a little late, as per usual. There was a technical difficulty or two.
You're totally cool, man. I'm going to boost your mic a tad, and everybody in the chat, everybody in the audience. This is Oliver Thompson. He's the brains behind this whole dang operation. Writer, producer, director, composer. What else do you do? Crafty, craft saver. So he made our lunch. He packed our brown bags. He got us dressed in the morning. Gave us our allowance.
He also cast his crepe chef to be in the movie. So he's got the casting down as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So we're just getting rolling here, Oliver. I just got done with the introductions, and you're the final one, man. So thanks for joining us from. Gosh, I could hit a rock and throw you, Oliver. In LA, like me. We meet up for fancy coffees every once in a while, just down the street from each other. So cool to see you on the online chat, I guess.
Yeah, I think people usually say that the other way around. Nice to see you in person. It's like, no, it's nice to see you digitally.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. Technically, everything's looking cool. People in chat, let me know if there's any obvious snafus here. But audio sounds good on everybody. I think video is coming through pretty clear.
I love the white dragon shirt, Ryan.
Yeah. Ryan's got a nice backdrop.
That's awesome.
I was gonna wear it, and it shrunk in the wash, and I put it on. I was like, yeah, I don't remember that.
I do have the Lady Death. So
hey.
Damn, I don't even have that.
Nice.
That's one of my favorite shirts. I wear mine all the time.
Yeah, it's such a great shirt. We have to get you on, Luna.
Yes, please.
For
Next
sure.
time we see each other.
I love it. Let me see if I can get a better view. Look at this. We got the Brady Bunch view
Oh,
going on.
perfect.
There it is. Lovely lady. Okay. I know how the song goes. So, yeah, everybody. Well, thanks again for joining us. We just gave you the rundown on Sniper Grid. A lot of you have been kind enough to buy it and to watch it, and reviews have been quite nice. It's you seem to all enjoy it very much, and we appreciate your support. Obviously, between the writer's strike and between the actor's strike down here, we couldn't say anything around the release date, the 26th, but thank you all for circulating on our behalf and joining us and supporting us as we play catch up, putting our fun little movie out there for you all to see. So yeah, we're just gonna shoot the breeze like pals do. And Oliver, you were involved obviously more and you wrote the script. Hilarious script, really fun script, a lot of great action in it. Obviously you had to do some casting commensurate with it, and I suppose that you were more behind the scenes, more boots on the ground, putting this whole darn thing together. And what many people have come to learn is that we filmed this whole movie in Malta. And now, were you involved writing on, like, did you work backwards from that as a final destination with Sony, or?
Oh, good question. So, yeah, it started in a different. There was a lot of times, for better or worse, locations can oftentimes be chosen for various reasons, and some of them are budget based, because a lot of times different places, as you guys know, give us different incentives, tax breaks, and various things like that oftentimes can help narrow down where you might set a movie. And
right.
We had our eyes on a different country for this one. I'm actually like blanking right now on where. Is in Eastern Europe.
Serbia.
Oh,
is that what it was? Okay. And
I remember it was Serbia, and I was like, man, that's gonna be cold.
So what happened is the Serbia Film Commission website was really fantastic and was really thorough, and had a lot of location stills, a lot. And I didn't know if this would actually be realistic or feasible or anything, but nevertheless, I still started picking some of these places that I thought were really exciting and really cool, and that were maybe like wish list to film in, and just writing scenes around them, because it can be nice to write to a location that you actually know, as opposed to just dreaming something up and then having to go try to find it. So often, if you're doing that, then you end up either having to compromise. Of course, the opposite happens. You have these happy things that happen where you're, oh, that's even cooler than I saw it in my head. But a lot of times it's just nice to know the location and you can write specifically to it. So I was, trying to kind of do that via just their website. And what happened is another film came in through Sony that had been shooting in Malta, and the dailies and everything were just so gorgeous that it was sort of put in my brain, hey, let's consider pivoting, because this is just really some stunning photography. And I went and started Googling it and looking, and totally agreed. And so what happened that was so nice is it's almost bizarre how many of my Serbia locations translated really well. There was something really similar in Malta. I'll give you just one example. We shoot, you guys' rendezvous point is this incredible little tiny white chapel on a cliffside, and that seems like I would have seen that in Malta and fallen in love with it, and so picked that as the location. The reality is there was this really cool little white church, tiny in the middle of an empty field in Serbia. That's why I wrote that. And then Paul Parker, our co-producer, man on the ground in Malta, was like, well, will this work for, because it was in the script and I was like, yes, actually that looks pretty fantastic. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's a lot of similar things like that, like in Abandoned Fortress. there was this abandoned fortress in Serbia where I said, and they're like, I mean, Game of Thrones and Gladiator thought our abandoned fortress was just fine. Will this one work for you? Yeah, it was like, I was like, yes, abandoned fortress will work for us. Just fine.
I'm actually, I'm throwing up some BTS photos here.
Yeah, I'm checking that out. It's fantastic. Like as I'm telling, you're like narrating. Yeah. I'm narrating your visuals here. So that's kind of a. I don't know if that answers the question. There's the Whitechapel. There it is.
That location was insane.
Yeah, it's very, very cool. So
I was looking over a cliffside and very majestic, very beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and we shot inside that church. We shot practically as well. When we were in that church, like the interior, that wasn't a set. That was the actual interior of that church.
That's a really a really good point to bring up, because I really think, Ryan, like the assumption watching the movie is, once they go in, they're on a set. You're absolutely right. Yeah. And we're not. We're really inside that little tiny church, for better or worse. It was a little crammed, but we did it practically.
Little musty.
And that's kind of like the stone structure next to.
Yeah, wow, what a gorgeous picture.
And that's, it gives you more of a sense of just us overlooking the seaside there.
Yeah.
Really quite beautiful.
Wow.
Oh, that's cool. Well, I don't know how that all came together. And okay. So this kind of plays in the background. Like here's a still for the movie. Yeah. This is kind of where I set up in the opening to try and do reconnaissance and scout out Bubalo's palace. And so you had us sitting here. Now, wasn't this like the highest point in the island or something?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that
really very high.
That really is. No, well, not terribly high, but it is the highest point in Malta. So it's quite, and it's quite practical that you can, you really would have, that would at least be your best vantage point, even if it's not a great one. And as we did tie it practically to the president's palace. So, like with a long zoom lens, instead of trying to use a lot of times, when we do these sniper movies, we can tell the audience you're looking at a location, but really from your vantage point, you wouldn't actually be able to see that location at all. It's actually, on the other side of Canada somewhere, Exactly. And I was really stoked. And we did the same thing in Sniper 9 at the beginning, when you're looking through the binoculars into that building, and I don't know, because we're on such a long lens, and long lenses, they compress so much. I don't know if people can tell how far away, that building you're looking through the binoculars really is as we zoom in. But I always like to, in these opening things, do that practically if I can. So that, it creates a little more realism. No, he really is at a vantage point where he really would be able to see this stuff going on. There's something really nice about being able, we have to fake so many things in movies. It's always nice when we can do something that's real.
Exactly. Here's a photo I threw up. That gives you, that's a still for the film. That's
wow.
That's it. That's inside.
Yeah.
So just so you guys know, I don't know if you guys, because you weren't on the location scouts. If you just came on the day and saw the incredible work our production design team did. That's a really nice church inside. It's super new and clean pews and some art and a nice altar, and it's really a nice place to go worship on Sunday. And we kind of said, hey, is it okay? We're going to make it look like an abandoned, just disgusting. So everything got taken out, and then all of our crap got put in. And
you had to dirty it up. Okay,
there you go. I didn't know that either. I just thought I thought it just sat there not being used. But.
No, I thought that too. I thought like it's already abandoned.
No.
Oh, it is still in use.
We have Nicholas and Charlo. We have to thank for that.
Our production design team, they killed it in so many locations though. Like
so many locations.
Everywhere we went was just like, wait, you did what?
Yeah.
What? Amazing.
I'll tell you one that I love is the restaurant scene, Frankie's restaurant.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty hard to wrap your head around because it looks so embedded into that little town, and it's like that's a 2-car garage that was turned into a restaurant.
Right.
It's everyone in that little town. There it is, dude. You're killing it with the real time
all my personal photos. I downloaded like my computer. So we'd have a little show and tell
It's
today.
so great. But everyone in town was, from what I understand, they were telling me, the locations was telling me, because we shot here, and then we, you know, of course they had already been building it for a couple days, and not only that, we had to break, you know, if you guys remember, we had horrible rain on the first day, so we got extremely delayed shooting at this location and had to come back another day a week later. And so this just sat there for a week. I think we had a couple security guards on it as a hot set, essentially, for a week. And everyone in town thought a new restaurant was going in. And it's pretty small. And they were really, really excited, I guess. From what I understand, they were genuinely really, really pumped that it was going to be a new it's always kind of fun. A new restaurant opens up. You're going to get to go try it out and see what it's like. No, it's just a movie set. But
and down the street was our like Actors Holding, where we'd kind of chill out. It was like a little restaurant, bar, cafe. Just walking down the street where we'd go and chill in between setups and takes and everything. And I remember I took a picture because on the outdoor kind of menu and what they feature, it's like they had rabbit and horse. I was like, oh,
they did.
This restaurant's not for everyone.
Yeah. Rabbit is big there. Rabbit is definitely a thing.
Yeah.
There you go. The interior. Yeah. So
here's another look.
Such a great job, you know, making that feel like a great little cafe, you know, and really, I mean, that's that is all done by them, you know.
That's
crazy. Even like if you can see a little bit here, like this tile floor they put in. I mean, you know, there's just a gross, oily concrete floor. They put this really beautiful tile floor in and just really made it nice.
That's really impressive work. Not pictured here is the. Do you remember this take, Oliver, when we were doing the shootout because the big bad burst through the window with his machine gun, and then you know, I got to scamper around a corner, and that huge decorative heavy plate fell on my head and broke the floor.
I remember that.
So I can thank art department for that as well.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong. Like I think that's in the movie, right? Like at least it falling off the wall, I think might have made it into the movie.
I can't remember, but
I think it did.
It was stout.
I think it
was a stout plate. I didn't get a stunt bump for that. So, cool. Well, thanks for sharing that, Oliver. I didn't know, you know, because, you know, and probably Luna and Ryan can attest in actors' experiences. We get the call and we're told where to go. You know, we're not involved with the process of where and when and how the location actually came together. So, but it was fun. It was fun to be there a little bit early and take in Malta. It was a beautiful little island. And then, of course, to stay a little bit later. I stayed a week later, so
cool.
It's really nice to kind of take it in without the hustle and bustle of filming day to day and everything. So
I remember at this location, the owner usually sat right outside, right where the red ended. He was just on a chair, just sitting there smoking cigarettes, like.
And then we put him in the movie
all day, and we put him in the movie because he was there.
Yeah.
So you see him there because he's always there anyway. It was perfect.
I loved it. Yeah. Great.
Here's one last shot outside.
That's cool.
There's our villain, who he was great. Marco,
right? So great. Yeah.
Vincent, the legendary stunt coordinator there.
Yeah.
Yep. Vincent was one of our stunt coordinators, and obviously Luna worked a lot with him, so we'll talk to her about that. But Vincent doubles for Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, John Wick.
For John Wick. So great guy, French gentleman. And of course, that's a nice segue. We'll throw it over to Luna because Luna had the most epic fight sequence of all fight sequences. And Luna, you were kind of, when you weren't filming on set, you were putting this fight choreography down for a couple of weeks at least.
No, actually, we only got to practice 1 week before we.
Oh my gosh!
I know. We only like literally in the where was it? Like we had this training room, and I went there only like 3 or 4 days. And rest of the time was like I practice on set whenever I have time and whenever they're on set.
Yeah.
So I just kept practicing with them on set before we actually get to shoot that scene.
That's the way it goes sometimes.
Yeah.
Luna, maybe you should like the experience of choreographing such an epic fight sequence. You learn that in chunks, right? You learn it in beats, like you would a dance. Like you you learn in beats, and then you eventually just string those all together. And because there's a long one shot in there, and that you're going to town, and all our stunt team took such great care of us, and man, they showed up. They really showed up. They kicked ass.
Oh, well, it was actually really hard to memorize the choreo because it was such a long sequence. Yeah.
but you nailed it.
It was impressive.
You nailed it, and
I tried.
And I know the team. You know, they were taking care of you like they took care of us, and I feel like I want to say something about the stunt team, and I don't want to give up the secret too much, but one of the blessings of having the balaclavas and the green jumpsuits was like we could kill the same stunt performer 7 times.
Right.
Like there's Matthew.
Oh my God.
So Matthew was one that I think we must have. I don't even know how many times we killed Matthew. We killed him a bunch, and he was so game. He was fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess that's the joy and the dubious privilege of being a stunt guy is you don't get your ass kicked once for one scene. You get your ass kicked multiple times by playing multiple different bad guys, usually in a mask or a helmet. Or
I'm pretty sure that's him that you have your
ways at any given day.
That's him that you have your hands on right there, Chad. I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that I think that was Marvin who was a gentleman.
Oh right, no, you're right.
Toss him onto the ground and then shoot him in the skull. Yeah, that was Marvin. But I think I got rid of Matthew earlier, or you did in the hallway there. So that's our buddy Matt, and I think
Marvin, the last guy that Luna gets in the leg headlock. That's Marvin. Yeah, so
that's Marvin. I've killed him so many times.
There's so many great beats, and the stunt team were also they were so committed to their performance too. Like I loved how real it felt just based on how exhausted they were. Numbering in at the end, like, okay, it was just great. It was so good. It was just so good. They did such a great job. And I mean, Luna, come on, that was insane.
Oh, I mean, definitely without without stunt team's support and the way they get killed, it wouldn't come out like that, because their reactions are really important.
Big time.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
they're the unsung heroes of every action movie. Is the stunt department. That's it's a bit of a thankless job, because they certainly don't get the credit they deserve. But like even in that example, and I kind of posted this to Instagram. We worked through that little sequence on the day where me and Marvin fought, and I kind of wrestled the gun from him and then shoot him in the head, and when we're shooting in the finale in the prison and stuff, but. I'm not launching that guy over my shoulder by myself. Like he's having to contort his body and give me a little like WWF professional wrestling hop. And like, and like he's basically throwing himself on the mat over and over and over again with a little bit of grunt work for me, and it's so much of a dance where you're selling it, but you're letting the stunt guy do what he needs to do to kind of, sell the movement, but also like be safe and not be completely shattered and injured.
Yeah.
And then there's those moments where like we're blocking a scene and then we get an idea. What if I did this?
Yes.
Oliver's like, yeah, maybe, sure. and then you go to Vincent, and Vincent's like, he just picks a guy, and next thing you know, you're doing this thing, and he's going over the railing instead of that one. And
yeah, I'm just kind of throwing some BTS shots up here and some screen grabs and stuff. And this was
I love this scene.
Yeah, and this is where it all went down. This was an abandoned prison, towards the end of the movie. We shot the heck out of that, man. We used almost every inch of that darn place.
Yeah, for sure. That was not something
everybody wanted to fire that gun.
It was so cool, and that's something it's worth noting, for better or worse, I guess, that we're really shooting blanks there, which is nice, because I do think it's the right call. We do most bullet hits and digitally these days. It's just so much safer and more efficient. But this was one thing where it was kind of decided all around. this is going to be one sequence where we do it the old fashioned way. We're going to shoot blanks and use squibs, and you really do tell. I mean, when those guys are all getting taken down, and they're it's just there's no amount of CGI that can quite.
You also can't act that recoil.
Right. Exactly. Right. Yeah.
That recoil from that caliber is, you see it. My whole face is just like, like it's just
exactly. That's why we knew we needed it. It just wasn't going to work. Like,
it's not, the hardest part about not shooting, blanks or live rounds is acting the recoil. That's tricky. Like, especially when you've got, sniper rifles and Uzis and, trying to like, it's a bit of a science there trying to like mimic the recoil. And, but safety first. But when I got my hands on that thing, I was like, are you kidding? This is amazing. It was ridiculous. And then my favorite, the moment between Zero and Yuki, and that music, gotta be one of my favorite moments ever. Like that music, like it's telling a story within a story within a story.
Yeah, it turned out really well. You guys did a great job.
Luna, the way you kind of just sat up, almost like a doll, kind of.
Yeah.
It was just.
Well, I said because Oliver asked me how I felt. I said I feel like a teddy bear.
Teddy bear, yeah. It's funny if you look in the storyboards, I drew it like that, and Luna, I showed Luna the storyboard, and I'm like, I kind of just want you to sit like this, and it's funny, Ryan, I didn't know why at the time. You're just doing your thing, and you're just doing what feels right, and you're acting on instinct. But I kind of realized later, and maybe it's because I have a 8-month-old now, but you and I have talked a lot about a bit of a, ever since Assassin's End, maybe a little bit of a, almost like a protective, either a father figure or big brother type feeling that Zero might have for Lady Death. And I realized, like, I don't want to get all, hoity-toity here with our fun sniper action movie, but she, after going through all this, she then kind of is like reduced to a child at that moment, and she just kind of then gets some much needed help, and it's kind of like, I can count on these guys,
Right.
It's kind of a cool, like, subconscious thing. I didn't really ever think about that until I was watching it, I don't know, maybe in the theater or something, and I was like, this reminds me of conversations Ryan and I have had about the subtextual nature of his feelings about her,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, I get really heady as an actor. Like I kind of like, it's Oliver. That's a whole other story. But I'm always telling Oliver, like, in my backstory, when I think, I'm like, well, I'm one of those guys. So.
Yeah. We have the whole backstory figured out of this other character that is why you have this protective relationship over Yuki that, it was never, just exists in an email and a backstory and a conversation at the hotel, it's like, but it's great. It helps.
Well, I think that, and so much about what you guys are talking about, the characters and everything else too. It's like, here's a shot of us, filming in the prison when the gang all kind of gets back together and reunites. And I mean, look at LD's outfit, and I know that Oliver, you work with Nicole and her team again, and they served us on the last two, or is it the last?
No, it was on Assassin's End.
Yeah. That's right, the one we did in Vancouver.
Yep.
And so you brought her to Malta with you, and she kind of put these amazing outfits together, Lady Death in particular always has the coolest outfits. It's always badass.
So cool.
She bought up all the green dye in Malta. She bought every last bit of green dye in Malta.
Bubalow's cult was all in green. So a lot of what Nicole had to do, she had to work with what was there in Malta. And it's like, well, Malta has to ship everything in. They're
not easy.
Textile manufacturing hub of the world.
Yeah, you're not just getting on Amazon and getting.
No, you are not. No, it was such a challenge for her, and she just killed it. And like you said, just buying all these jumpsuits and dyeing them green, and and all the green paint and just green fabric. I mean, we bought that island out of all of its green manufactured goods.
The thing is that shirt that I'm wearing wasn't that color.
No, it wasn't.
Used the green dye that they had. Give it that kind of a blue, look to it.
It's such a nice color.
It's a nice color.
I still have that shirt.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well, look,
that shirt went home with me.
I'd be since we're on the subject of shirts, I'd be remiss not to talk about the most infamous shirt, unfortunately, in the movie. But before I throw it up, Oliver, you had scripted something different.
Yeah,
but of course, that was another instance where we had to make do with what they found in Malta, right?
Yeah, I don't know if it's so much make do at that point. There it is, Dream Lover. I think I think it's pretty fair to say Nicole could have, if not, So it was scripted as a pink shirt with ponies on it.
Ponies. That's what I remember reading the script.
Yeah. And I'm sure she could have, if not found one, made one. I think it was more a situation of she showed me this shirt that she found in her shopping excursion. And I was like, well, what about this? Does this beat ponies? And I'm like, that definitely beats ponies. Because I kind of like put it out to her. I'm like, this joke is almost placeholder. Like ponies isn't good enough, but we get the idea. Zero bought him a really lame shirt. Like, right. But let's do better. So, and then she came to me with that, and I was like, so the one.
Oliver, I hope you don't mind, but I'm gonna throw another shirt up here.
Oh, nice. That's so great. That's a gift from you, sir. Which I wear that shirt so much because it is so soft. That is the most comfortable t-shirt.
Shirts are incredible.
It is the most soft, comfortable. I wear that's like my go-to. You remember in Seinfeld when Jerry has Golden Boy? It's like it's the first t-shirt he always wears out of the wash. It's like Golden Boy. This has definitely become Golden Boy. It is so soft. I love it. And of course, it's a reference to Intelligence.
Yeah, if you know, you know.
Right.
Soda, masterfully into the last couple of movies here, and it's become a calling card of Intelligence Pete.
Yeah,
who kind of came back and saved our bacon again in this movie. And I just
another calling card.
Yeah, we have so many of our like Easter eggs and stuff in these movies. That's what is so fun when you get to do 3 of these things and keep bringing same characters back. You get to start. That's a nice one. You get to start doing stuff like that. You get to have these little, either Easter eggs or like White Dragon's a bit more of an Easter eggy type thing. Orange Soda just becomes long conversations at this point. Right. It's not, but yeah, it's fun.
Well, and that's I think what's cool, and you can speak to this because for those that don't know, and you should know by now, is Oliver wrote the last 3.
Yeah.
And so that's something we haven't done really in the Sniper franchise, me being, the old statesman, the old guard of these things, doing it for a long time. Most of them have just existed as one-offs. But of course, Sniper Assassin's End introduced us to Lady Death and to Zero. And then you kind of rolled that into, the world you created for Rogue Mission. And then that led to the formulation of Grit.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are. So you can play with stuff like this, right? Yeah. You can play with backstories. There's a whole thing with Zero and his ex-wife and her new hubs, and we got to meet them, and now Brandon's friends with them. So you can kind of weave that and expand upon that as you go, and that's got to be really fun for you as a writer. You ever been in that situation before?
No.
As a writer, where you can kind of feed one film and let it lean into another. And
it's a unique experience for me, and you're absolutely right. It's so much fun, and exactly like the point you're talking about, like Sydney and the gore finds, and like getting to bring, like having the very first conversation you guys talk about in this movie be a throwback to that super awkward, funny scene from the last one, and just to find out, clearly Sydney Zero's ex-wife's husband was like kind of man crushing on you in a huge way, and just to find out that has really just evolved, like you kind of reciprocate. You love that guy now too. You guys are hanging out on the side. Like, what is happening here? The first time I get to like sit down and stare at, you know, a blank computer screen and dream crap like that up is an enormous amount of fun that you don't get to have if you don't have recurring characters and things that are already, you know, the groundwork has been laid, you know. And it's like back to the orange soda crap, like being on the airplane and him having this whole thing. None of that makes any sense, by the way, if you haven't seen the previous one. But you know, it gives us like a reason for people to go back.
This guy is soda talk. Yeah, it was brilliant, and I do think audiences have really come to appreciate, you know, a lot of those levity moments and letting Josh Brenner, who plays Intelligence Pete, do his thing and lean into it hard. And you know, and we talked about this on the last live for the last movie, but it's like Josh was giving you gold, you know, and I'm like, as an editor and a director, it's got to be tough to kind of sift and sort through his comedy gold, you know, because you can't use everything. It's not a stand-up special, right?
Oh my god, he always, and like one of the best things on this one that, again, like you're saying, unfortunately never made it in, but there's these phone conversations with Zero, and when we're shooting Josh, you know, it's always me on the other end, being Zero, and similarly when we do, you know, Zero side, it's me being Intelligence Pete for Ryan. Yeah. So I would always at the end, improvise some line asking him as Zero, you know, like how Mary Jane is doing, again, as a callback. And every time his responses to that were so funny. He stayed so in character as a guy who is just like, I'm not talking about my personal life with you. Like, do not ask me about like my girlfriend. Like, I'm sorry. I don't know who. Like,
I want to see those outtakes.
They're so funny. They are so funny. I mean, some of them are just as simple as like, you know, goodbye.
Wait, can we just talk about the idea of pairing Intelligence Pete and the Colonel and Josh Brenner and Dennis Haysbert? Like, can we just talk about that for a second? Because
I'll never forget the first text I got from you, Ryan, after you read the script. Your response, you know, something very kind that you enjoyed it, and then you just wrote Intelligence Pete and the Colonel, the partnership we never knew we needed.
Exactly.
You texted that to me. And it's my favorite. It's my favorite thing. Yeah,
I did not see that coming, and on paper I was like, this is really good. But the performances was fantastic. Those two together, they really had a thing. They really connected.
Such an odd couple thing.
Well, and that goes back to what Chad was talking about with getting to write recurring characters. So like that's something where I might dream up some fun odd couple like that on paper, and you're you know, this is the norm. You're thinking to yourself like, oh my god, this is going to be so great. You're thinking about how you're going to cast this. How are we going to cast it? If we could get this and this is a different thing where it's like, you know who it's going to be. So now you write to that, you know. I'm writing Dennis and Josh at that point. And and that's the same for you know, for all you guys. It's really fun. I mean, obviously taken sort of the buddy cop qualities of Brandon and Zero, and we really have elevated all that. And I can do that now because I know you guys so well. You know, I'm just like, a lot of them I'm kind of writing your own voices, really, like, you know, just like what I know you're capable of as just dudes that I hang out with. So it makes it a lot of fun.
We have a behind the scenes shot. I have a behind the scenes shots of Oliver here. Let me pull it up quick.
We don't need to see those.
Oh, there we go.
Oh man,
I'd be remiss not to.
Yeah.
Producer Bay, there's, and that's him. Good looking fella.
Yeah. Thank you, fella.
Some of us clowning behind the scenes, but that was at Grit headquarters, which was also a really pretty epic location. I'm trying to pull some more photos here.
Another one that we have to talk about, like, I mean, from the point of view of the, you know, our construction team and production design team and you know, art department. I mean, that was not what you see on screen. I mean, that was a big empty nothing. I mean, right down to those concrete columns aren't even really there. You know, those were put in, you know,
wow.
for both practical reasons and aesthetic ones. They hide a lot of cable that we're running to all those droplets, you know, and they also just like give it a sense of line and symmetry. So that place was an empty shell once again, you know, painted and designed and turned into the epic
it's the movie magic of it all, right?
Yeah, in the back of a Chinese restaurant.
And our team had to find American cars, like American muscle in Malta. Like,
yeah, I'm trying to find
it's hard to get things in Malta, especially cars, and especially that kind of a vehicle. And we got really lucky with all of our vehicles. Like, our picture car team was
God, Charlie, you know,
Charlie's the best, man.
Charlie, yeah, who you see in the movie as the
shady guy in the van
selling guns out of a van.
Yeah,
that is our picture car specialist. And you're absolutely right, Ryan. Like, we don't, you know, can't appreciate this stateside, but here in Malta, these are the hard cars. Like, we blow up a car in the movie, right? And we blow up it's either a Mercedes or a BMW. And in North America, we'd be like, you're gonna blow up a car, go blow up a Honda. You know what I mean? It's like they're like, no, BMWs, those are like a dime a dozen, you know, like you want a Corvette, that's gonna be hard to find. You want a Camaro, that's gonna be hard to find. And so yeah, those muscle cars were really, really, really tough to find, but he is such an incredible, so good at his job. I mean, right there, you're driving a truck that wasn't black, you know, and I said, hey, I want this to be black, and tomorrow, and within a couple hours, it's black. I mean, it's just everything. The car you guys steal was not blue. The van was not orange, you know, I mean, and so not only is this guy procuring all these vehicles and, you know, which, like you said, is very hard to do with the somewhat limited resources they have. He's then customizing them for us so that they fit the color scheme and they fit what we're looking for character-wise, or all these various things. So it was, he was just, he was a champ.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Fantastic. When I got behind the wheel of the utility vehicle to go and drive up near the end of the movie where Lady Death and Brandon are with our guy, and I had to drive through that tunnel. I could just, every time I came ripping around that corner and that tunnel was so narrow, I could sense Charlie's butt clenching. It's like,
well, it's funny
because you can't fix it. Like if I knock a window on the side of that thing or whatever, like you can't fix that. There's not a replacement part.
Yeah, there's two ways to look at that story. There's you're nervous about the car. You also might be nervous about the 500-year-old fortress that you might ding a wall of that, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that tunnel, I mean, I was always in awe, because I would be, you know, we'd be in the tunnel you're talking about. And I remember I was there, opening the massive doors, and I don't know how original those doors are, or if they've had to be replaced over, you know, but even if they have had to be replaced, they probably still were replaced 150 years ago. They're not new. You know, this was a 16 I don't want to get the date wrong, somewhere in the 1600s was when that fortress was built. So, you know, you're cruising through a tunnel of history there, and it's really something else.
The history in Malta was just outstanding.
Incredible. Yeah.
And it's funny, you know, scenes like that, like coming ripping around the corner and blasting through that tunnel, and then coming out of the tunnel and there's an entire crew in front of you on the day, feels so intense and like such a big deal. And then you watch it on the film for a second and it's so good and smooth. You're just like, it look nearly as impressive as I felt. It looks super cool. But it felt ridiculously cool to drive through that, like you said, this old tunnel. Like, you know, here in North America, you know, we're such baby countries.
Yeah.
Compared to places like Malta, and you really the history is just, it's so tangible. It's so cool. And I was just hyper aware of all of it. And also, you know, gladiator shot here. So I have to do the obligatory, are you not entertained selfie.
Yeah.
You know,
well, that's, I mean, look, that's the picture I'm trying to pull up here, you know, because I didn't have many because I didn't shoot a ton on that day, but I did have all that Overwatch there. But that is where they shot Gladiator. That is where they, what the heck else did they shoot there? Some of the
well, I'll tell you what shot there a lot, and I just watched it, is the whole first battle of Napoleon.
Oh yeah,
so I'm watching Napoleon. I went and saw it.
Right?
Yeah. What's that?
Didn't we get there just after they were finished, or
we actually used one of their sets?
That's right.
Because our art director was the art director on Napoleon, and he's like, yeah, we can use, we can recycle this set. So we redressed one of the incredible Napoleon sets and shot it. But yeah, this fortress is used, the whole big opening, the first battle of Napoleon. Like I was saying, I just saw it a week ago or whatever, and I was like, oh, I mean, it was hard. It was hard to pay attention to the movie because I'm just looking at like the locations that we used and stuff. Yeah. But I think that also this is like what was used for the Colosseum. The Colosseum was sort of reconstructed inside of it. Ridley likes this place, and so does Game of Thrones, I guess.
Right. So, I'm trying to find more shots. Unfortunately, I wasn't always there, a ton. And I got to shoot all this Overwatch stuff, but that's usually stuff we just do in a day all by myself. So but it's really much more epic in scope. And obviously, if you flip around, you've got the beautiful, sea behind me. And I'm trying to find some a photo of that, just so you can kind of have an idea of the scope and magnitude of this place when I was kind of up there perched on the walls.
There are shots in our movie that we're so conditioned to accepting blue screen and digital backgrounds. So there are shots that you will assume might be a digital backdrop. Not one of them.
Yeah.
What you see is what you get. That was all of that was 100% real. Yeah. And it was so expansive and so cool. Like, look at that. That's there.
That's really there. Yeah.
That's what we were experiencing in real time.
Wow.
And
wow.
Yeah.
Think, like, there's no way. Like, that doesn't exist. Like, that's a backdrop, and there's not one backdrop in this movie, and it's crazy. Like, it's so cool. It's so cool.
It really is. That's an incredible picture.
Yeah. I'm lucky to have somebody took that great shot for us. But I mean, look, everyone worked really hard. Nobody harder than Oliver, obviously. Just pulling all the duty and all the hats that you were wearing. But we did get to enjoy a nice, and I'll lead us to some Q&A here. We did get to enjoy a nice little rap party that you all put on for us.
Oh yeah.
And this is there it is.
Oh yeah. The t-shirt.
There it is. White Dragon t-shirts.
Yeah, all of us in our White Dragon t-shirts.
I didn't have mine with me that day. I think it was too wrinkled, but that was a fun little rap party. That's actually our first AD, Jamie, correct?
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
And the blue shirt, and
second.
That's
Bay.
Bay,
yep.
Our producer all the way on the left. As well. So that was a really fun time. I remember Oliver was so exhausted. Be marching around this party.
We have to go to a party
and say thanks to people and have fun. It was poor Oliver. What did you told me later when we had coffee after we wrapped that you slept for like a week straight.
Yeah, I think and I think more so honestly after the last one in Winnipeg. That one, I really like. I don't know. I came home and just a lot of recovery. But it might have been because we if you remember on that one at the last week, we turned around and shot nights, and that's always very tiring.
Right.
Very tiring.
One of the great things about Malta being such a beautiful place is it also goes really, really dark at night. Like that place there's no, we're used to big cities and stuff where it's just light everywhere. And so the blessing for us as actors was no nights. I think we shot one. I think there was one night, and I think it was with Luna. Is that correct?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There was one night we shot at a hotel when he comes in, when Coco sneaks into your guys' hotel room and all that stuff in the hotel was our only night shoot. That was deliberate. by the way, writing the script. I made everything day because I hate shooting nights.
But it also looks so great. It looks so
absolutely
cool.
Yeah. I just when I showed up like at that prison, there's like that abandoned prison. There's a bit of a, I don't know, compulsion to make your big final set piece nighttime a lot of time, and there was something about that prison. It just felt like day. It just felt like, no, this is a daytime, more like Commando. I think I always had Commando in my head, it's like Arnie, storms that island, and it's all just big set piece in the day.
It also feels like the illusion. It sort of feels like a place like Malta. It just has really long days. Like,
exactly.
It just feels like that because it's,
which it didn't, because it was October and it was really frustrating. It was really frustrating that our days ended as soon as they did. And it kind of screwed my whole idea of, I'll make this a big day movie. And it's like, well, if you're going to make it a day movie, we're gonna have to start at like 5 a.m. because that's when the sun, like, okay, well, there goes that idea. Now
am I remembering this right? The last scene where we're walking away and all the banners fall, weren't we chasing the light on that day?
No, I think you're probably thinking of a really kind of similar moment in Rogue Mission where you guys come up to Laura Lake's dead body. That feels to me like that's the one where we're like really chasing. And it's like the same moment. It's like that movie's version of that moment, Right.
Yeah.
And
that
the
was
reason
cool. It worked out cool because our shadows were so long.
Yeah, but the thing that's funny is that we discussed that. Like there was a lot of talk of this should be a night scene, and they should come out and the banners fall, and that will all be happening at sunrise. And I said, no, we just did that in the last one. Like that's kind of how the last one worked. Is it was a night scene, and then the sun comes up as they have their hero walk away. So no, it was always kind of meant to be day for day, and it just works with the, like you said, those long days. It just makes it feel like it was hot. You know what I mean? There's just all this, like, limestone and rock and heat and sun. The sun was hot there. Yeah.
Well, that's great. We're coming up on 50 minutes here, so I figured that
happens fast.
Wow,
after sharing some, I know, right? After sharing some stories and some how this all came together, and of course some fun, unique looks and some behind the scenes shots. And the anecdotes behind that, I figured we'd open up the chat if everybody's down for that, and see if there's any questions.
Sorry we made you all wait so long.
Yeah, kind of simply.
This is fun. We think this is interesting to other people. Other people are probably taking naps. They're just waiting for the Q&A.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you have questions, throw them in the chat. I'm looking here. We'd be happy to try and answer the questions from the chat here. People have been saving them up, so let them fly if you have it. I kind of ran out of BTS photos, but I'll have to share all those with you guys because I know there's some great shots in there for y'all to have too. So
yeah,
great.
Oh, here's one from Rory. Greetings from Canada. Hello, we love Canada. We did two of the 3 Last Sniper movies in Canada. How long did it take to shoot the movie?
5 weeks. 5 weeks of actual photography.
Yeah. And our wonderful producer Daniel at Sony was kind enough to give us didn't he give us 2-day weekends?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. It was only
we hadn't had those before.
Rogue Mission we did as well. Yeah, Assassin's End was Assassin's End was in Vancouver with 6-day weeks, and I politely raised my hand and said, "Can we please, never do that again?"
Yeah.
Rogue Mission just felt so epic. It just felt so like go.
Yeah, it really did. It did. Yeah, it was crazy, but
I think we also got a couple extra days on this one on the schedule as well, right?
Yeah, it was 5 weeks as opposed to 4. So
which is great.
That was another big ask, and really graciously granted. It was just like, hey, I can make this huge, but could I get an extra week? And I don't know how they crunch the numbers and do that, but I was able to get that 5th week, which is just enormous. I mean, when you suddenly have 5 more days, it's like, trust me, I'll use them.
It made a huge difference. It was a noticeable difference for sure.
Yep, it was. Yeah.
Francois wants to know when the Lady Death movie's happening. Oh man. Are we gonna go full MCU?
So it kind of did already. This is my crew shirt from Assassin's End, which was originally called Lady Death. We made a movie called Lady Death that had a title change. But no, I know the real question there. The standalone, the Lady Death standalone. Believe it or not,
Black Widow.
Totally been discussed.
I love that.
I mean, I can't speak to that. That's out of my way above my pay grade. But like those conversations happen, because we all love these characters so much and would love to see that kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's pretty.
We always talk about it, right? Like expanding the Sniperverse. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
hey, shout out to Team House in the chat. What's going on, Team House? Salute. Got some vets here with us supporting us.
Oh, awesome!
It's always nice to have veterans and people who do it real support us pretenders.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
We're getting Rachel's asking Oliver what are the steps you take to writing the script and directing the film? That's probably a 90-minute.
Wow,
massive. It's a great question, but
yeah, it is. It's a great question. I'm trying to think of like the really fast way to answer that. Like,
what are the Cole's notes?
What are the steps taken to writing the script? Well, first, there are conversations with the studio. A lot of back and forth. Daniel, in particular, on this is the real back and forth for me that Chad mentioned earlier. And we just go back and forth with a lot of, hey, what's the next adventure to take these guys on? And from there, I'm kind of let loose a little to shape it into something that actually feels like a movie. And I just do a lot of banging my head against the wall and a lot of long walks and a lot of time just spent thinking until I can coalesce this into an outline that I can then turn into a script. And then from there, I mean, how do we, directing, I guess the next thing I do is I storyboard. So I take that script before I've ever gotten to, in this case, Malta, or wherever we're shooting. I just at home in early pre-production, I just start storyboarding all the big set pieces, even though I have no idea what the locations are. Maybe I've seen some pictures like I was talking about earlier, but I'm storyboarding to my mind's eye and really meticulously. I'm a big storyboarder, so I like to do a lot of that. And then we get there and try to find places that location scouting is a really, really important step. Trying to find places that either I can bring my storyboards to life with these locations, or they're so great. Like I mentioned, the prison is so great that you throw your storyboards away and decide this is, we're going to start from scratch because this is something we want to utilize. And then you just cry and sweat and and somehow get through it, and somehow at the end of the day you have a movie. Maybe there's a little more to it than that.
That's a complete answer. This will be a fun one for everyone. Shout out to Reaper. To everyone, what is your favorite scene or line from this movie? So we'll go lightning round. Everybody fire it off.
Oh my God.
We'll start Oliver and we'll go up to Ryan, Luna, and then I'll waste everyone's time with my answer.
My favorite scene, one of my favorite scenes might be when you guys are kind of having your moment with the I bought you an Uzi. I got you aviators. I really like that scene a lot.
Yeah, good one.
Oh man, I think the one I talked about, that beat between Zero LD, I love that. But I think selfishly, I kind of like the montage sequence that Oliver and I got to record a song for.
Oh, that was fun.
That's kind of got a bit of a soft spot in my heart for
sure. Yeah,
that we were able to put that song together and get it in the movie, and I think it worked really well for that whole sequence. And it was certainly it was certainly really cool feeling for me to see that on the big screen and have just kind of a bit of a bucket list for me.
And just to clarify, for those that don't know what you're talking about, like the big montage sequence with the old, that rendition of God Almighty is going to cut you down. That's Ryan singing. So, and just crushing it. So, yeah, good pick.
Yeah. There's some sentiment there because you and I, we worked hard on that, man.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Awesome.
That's super impressive. I
what
had
about
no
you,
idea.
Luna?
Gone away.
So hard. Actually, I like the teddy bear scene that you for sure. Also, like the surgical scene was funny.
Oh my god.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Luna, I take it back. That's my favorite scene.
Answer, but yes.
That's my favorite scene, Luna. You nailed it.
Not Zero. That's you, Ryan and Chad. It's so funny.
That is you absolutely beat my answer. That's my favorite scene. That's
scene,
definitely my favorite scene. Yeah.
That scene epitomizes those three characters and their relationships in one scene. That's my good favorite one. Good call, Luna.
It's a really good one.
And without spoiling, and I think most people here have been kind enough to watch the film, is there's a scene where we discover that there's been some kind of tracers implanted in bullet wounds that Lady Death has, and so me and Agent Zero try to go full medics, and dig in to these wounds and try to find the trackers and the tracers and dig them out of her, and it's a pure shite show, as they would say. And so we got to laugh and high stakes, and it was a lot of fun.
To watch
That's my favorite line. What are you, an effing butcher? I laughed out loud when I read that.
Oh yeah, I love that line.
I mean, and then the retort, I'm certainly not a doctor. I mean, just like both of you guys there. So
well written. So
oh my god, I'm gonna punch you.
Oh my god,
man!
I really needed to. I tried so hard to not laugh.
That was the one scene I was looking forward to shooting the most. And
honestly,
of all those, as I thought it would be.
Watch that with an audience, and that scene definitely got all the reactions for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we did. We were able to have a little screening here in LA at the beginning of October, which is really cool to see it on the big screen and everything too. So that was kind of our first time seeing it on the big screen that way. Here's I'm going to try to get through as many of these questions.
What about you, Chad? You didn't answer. You didn't answer.
Oh yeah, no, it was absolutely the surgical scene for sure.
Yeah,
hands down. Rachel has a question. Did Lady Luna have to do a fight scene for the audition?
Oh,
I don't know if that was required, if it was purely an acting thing.
Yeah, no. I was sent in some ways yes, some ways no, because I was sent a lot of footage of you fighting. So in that sense, that was huge for me to see. Yeah.
Right.
So,
but nothing. It was nothing. But there was nothing specific.
No, nothing literal. No, like literal. Hey, I need to see you do this. No, it was just watching all these
fight 12 guys.
Yeah, there's all these
12 straight minutes.
There's enough. I don't know if I was getting it from released things or through our various sources and stuff and behind. I don't know what it was, but I just know that there was enough. There's enough incredible footage of Luna fighting out there to certainly get her the gig. That was not a problem.
I just remember. I remember when Oliver was telling me about you, Luna, and in the conversation, he goes, "I mean, she can do a scorpion kick." And I was like, "Sold."
That's awesome. But we didn't get to do the scorpion kick in this one.
No.
Nope.
I don't even know what that is. Sounds awesome. Here's a great question. Juliet, where do you think we'll see Sniper or the Grit next? And I'll just take this one because, we it's almost always above our pay grade. We when something comes together, they let us know. But TBD, to be decided, to be announced someday soon.
When we know, you'll know.
Someone was asking about the use of a vacant prison versus an actual prison. Yeah, we filmed in they found this amazing vacated jail prison,
right?
And that's where we kind of shot the finale stuff. where you know, Lady Death's father bled all over the darn place.
Yeah,
all messy.
Yeah, it was built in 18. Again, I don't remember the exact year. I'm bad with dates. 18 something by the British when Malta was a British colony for a time, and they built that, and now it's sits vacant, and it's used. I think it's just, you know, a historical site used for tours and things like that. But I think you can also maybe rent it for paintball, I think, because I saw a lot of paintball supplies around. So I don't know.
That'd be pretty cool, actually.
It'd be really fun. Yeah.
It's crazy. Shout out CB Pat's fan. Their favorite line was Zero. Honestly, that was pretty easy. And then the camera goes to the shot of LD versus 12 guys.
That's a fun cut.
She didn't have no Uzis, sadly. There we go.
Because I took 2.
Yeah, right.
You did.
Let me see here. Any other questions here for anyone specifically? Freddie, Oliver, you going to make Luna do all the fighting in the next one? Well, I remember talking with you, Oliver. This is kind of a peripheral observation. It was just that, like, you, for this one in particular, because I know Sniper Rogue Mission was, you know, we got really, really down and dirty with a lot of hand-to-hand combat, and everyone had at least one major or 2 big fights each.
Yeah.
And you said that you really wanted to return this one to more of a shoot 'em up video game feel.
Yes.
You know, kind of tone. And I think that really came through, you know, and then of course Luna worked her magic, you know, giving us that fantastic hand-to-hand stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the last one, there was a definite you know, decision to do a lot of hand-to-hand stuff, like you said. And I think the big fight in that one is the elevator, and then with Zero, and then you know, Brandon and Lady Death have, like you said, each kind of 2 epic, but like not at, like, I think Zero got one huge one, and then you guys got like kind of 2 smaller ones, I guess. And so there was just so much hand-to-hand happening. And with this one, I just wanted to do like I kind of brought up Commando earlier, and again, that similar kind of thing, like a Rambo. You know, just a lot of like shooting Uzis with, you know, limitless rounds, like in the good old 80s movies, you know, and we almost make a joke about that at one point when Zero actually shoots a guy behind him and does this and like never takes his finger off the trigger, you know, just because it's just, and I'm sure there's a lot of purists that really irks. I hope that a lot of the audience kind of gets the wink there, you know, like it's an ode to a certain kind of movie that was, I think, very, very influential for all of us, you know. And,
right.
And
same with the big, this stuff with the big gun was the same.
It's straight out of Rambo.
Homage, right?
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
You know, I remember Missing in Action, and Chuck Norris comes up out of the water,
right?
You know, like,
or just even like you know, T2 and Arnie like finds that in like that bomb shelter thing, and it, you know, and then when you finally get to see him use it, he's just like taking down like the police choppers and stuff with this big Gatling gun that he hand holds. It's just so awesome. So I think like it was just like I wanted to do that kind of thing, you know. But then it was brought to my attention, hey, because that, believe it or not, that giant Lady Death fight wasn't in the first draft, and she had a, you know, just a little bit of a kind of a different moment there that was more gunplay kind of stuff. And I was like, hey, and it was kind of said like, hey, can we need some hand to hand, you know, let's do. And I was like, all right, well, if we're gonna do it, let's do it. How about we only have one fight, but it's the biggest fight we've ever done, you know. Absolutely. And it'll be Lady Death takes on, you know,
everybody
12 people at the same time, in the tradition of like some of these great, you know, Old Boy or something like that. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Here's a fun one that we can answer quickly. Faye asks, what would you like to happen for your characters in the future? I think Brandon's gonna go and he's gonna go pre-med for 4 years, so he can actually learn how to open a wound without killing someone. I'm gonna go to med school. What about you, Luna? After that adventure in Sniper Grid, what's Lady Death up to next?
Oh God, I need some time to think about that. What are you thinking, Oliver, for the Lady Death?
Hey, the question was asked of you three. What do you think, Ryan?
I would say she'd go get some stem cell therapy and try to stitch yourself back together again after we.
I know, right? Like I can't rely on these two. Certainly not.
That is a good question. I don't know. I wouldn't mind learning a little bit more about Zero, like who he is, who he was, where he came from. I mean, I always imagine between missions, Zero he's just in his little shack in the woods, this off grid, just avoiding people. That's kind of how I always see it. Oliver and I have talked about that before. Like, what does Zero do between missions? It's like he's got to save up his energy to put his game face on. Then he takes his game face off and he just goes into seclusion in the woods.
Well, those are the fun things.
Kind of like me.
Honestly, that's
what
like
I do.
Some of my, I know it's not maybe a popular decision with the action genre, but what you're talking about is some of my favorite stuff. It goes back to Assassin's End. The one big sort of like ask that I had when I was brought on as a writer, was can we at least start Brandon off duty? I just want to see this guy. I want to feel like I know this guy, and I want to just take him out of the military uniform for just a minute. Can we just meet him? I want to see this guy, with a beer and playing video games and get to know his personality a little bit. And so those are always some of my favorite moments. I mean, Lady Death and Rogue Mission, getting to she's working as a waitress in a small town like that. I really enjoy things like that because suddenly these people become so real. And in that same sense, like we get to meet Zero's ex-wife in like the suburban house that probably like he used to live in with her, it's just like, those are always these super non-action movie moments, like tend to be my favorite ones. So I agree with you, Ryan. I want to make a standalone for all three of your characters where they're not action movies. You're off duty and you just get they're like dramas or something like that.
Then I think Lady Death can like find her true love and live happily ever after.
There's no happily ever after.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Here's a quick question, and this is just nice because it allowed me to give a couple of shout outs here. What was it like working with the cast and crew, and any memorable moments during filming that you'll never forget? I think I speak for everyone that we had a great time working with the boots on the ground Malta production company, Paul Parker and his wonderful team, who really, I think, were pretty instrumental and stuff. Because, and as I'm sure Oliver and Luna and Ryan can all attest to, filming overseas can be challenging. I can't imagine what it's like to put a movie together overseas, working with other production companies, sometimes dealing with the language barrier. Obviously, things work very different in different countries in terms of, anything from work papers to, getting weapons, or like you were saying, like access to the vehicles and the cars and green dye. You just never know what it's going to be like there, and I imagine it's really hard to put something together because I think a film is more about like, things are going to go wrong and stuff's going to go sideways, but like, is there going to be enough creative resources there that you can fix things on the day, and that's kind of the wild card, the damage control that you always have to kind of factor in. But I thought they did a great job. Obviously, some of the most memorable parts of the entire film were just the epic locations. Yeah. There's a reason why people film there so often. And it was really a breathtaking city, rich with history, and we did get to take a little time to go into Mdina, which we didn't film in Mdina. No. But that walled city. And I did a little YouTube video with just BTS and stuff, which is incredible, in and of its own right. So it was a really wonderful experience. And I think we can all agree that, one of the best perks of being in this industry as an actor or writer director is that when you are lucky enough to get your passport stamped and go see another part of the world, like it is such a blessing to be able to go ahead and do that. Oh, here's a fun comment. Zero's a Boy Scout leader in his off time.
I love it.
Oh, that's
what I'm saying. Like, there's a movie. I would watch that movie. Like,
Yeah, but he's a survivalist, so he's the hardest of hardcore Boy Scout.
Yeah.
He's like, let me show you how to skin this animal.
Too funny. I got to shout out Reaper here. Reaper's a buddy of mine that I play Warzone with quite a bit, Call of Duty. And so, the irony, and I always, take the piss out of myself, is because, if you can snipe in Call of Duty, like, you're a really good player. I can't snipe for anything, dude. And which kind of parallels, me playing Brandon. It's like, I still can't hit anything from a mile away. And I don't have to in these movies, thank God. But it's a great irony that I play an elite level sniper, but also when it comes to playing an actual video game, I literally can't hit the broadside of a barn.
That's funny. I did not know. That's hilarious.
Here's this. Team House has a suggestion for you, Oliver. That next time when we get to know Brandon, that he should be playing Dungeons and Dragons.
I love that. That would be so good. I'm like, that's what I'm saying. These are the scenes I want to see. I love hearing people say stuff like that. Don't encourage me. Like, I will write that scene. It's like, I absolutely will write that scene into.
Look at that. I mean, look at the shelf behind me. You need props. I'm your art department for this scene, by the way. I love that. Scarlett Cunningham, shout out for the super thanks. Super kind of you. Hope you've been well down there in Brazil. Thanks for joining us. Rory McDonald, shout out to Ryan Robbins, fellow Canuck. Love his work. We all do. We all do. That's for sure.
Thank you, Rory.
Let me see here if there's got some other question. Scarlett's suggesting that maybe Brandon and Zero find a lovely lass and settle down.
Wait, like we share one?
Oh my God!
Sniper red matrimony. I don't know. That'll be the end of.
It's like the worst Bachelor season ever.
Hilarious.
I want to see it.
Funny. Action. You might, Luna. This is, I think, for you. Action design. Great job on the fight scene, Luna. It's Tanay, by the way. Tanay. Giving you some props.
Oh, thank you, Tanay.
Well, you impressed the heck out of us with your fights. Yeah. I mean, obviously, me and Ryan, put together some fight sequences, and they were challenging in their own right. But after seeing you go through that one, I don't think me and Ryan will ever complain about our choreography from here on out.
No, worst thing I got was a nut shot. That was it.
I think we all stood out in this movie. I feel like in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very diplomatic of you.
Uzi. I wanted to use Uzi.
You did, yeah.
True. CB Pats fan says, technically we know what IP does in his off time.
Yes.
Putting together puzzles with Mary Jane. Who about. And drinking soda, of course.
Yeah.
Orange. Yeah. Always orange.
I love that character.
Scarlett had a question, and this is cool because it's an action film, and I get this asked a lot, whether it comes to the shoot 'em ups or the fighting stuff. Congrats for all the action scenes I saw in the teasers. How much training, how many months did this take for you all? And it's just like, I always make the joke, I'm like, I wish we had months. I wish we had a day. I wish we had a week of basic training. Unfortunately, budgets allow for what they allow, and a lot of this stuff is done on the fly. Like, I know the thing I put together in that hallway, we just put it together on the day just before we started shooting it. Yeah,
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. They've a lot of times, like, they've been the stunt coordinator and fight choreographer. They've been working a lot of that up, without you.
Yeah.
Well, so, like, that's the thing. It's like I've been in these. We shot for 5 weeks, like I said. I got there 5 weeks early,
Mm-hmm.
and so there's 5 weeks of working with a stunt team, which is a lot of the people that end up doing, the fighting, playing the bad guys and stuff like that. And then usually you guys have a stunt double that's sort of taking your place, so that at least we can make sure the fight's working and know what we're doing. And then you pour, what it's like? It's like this band has been practicing with a temporary lead singer, and then with like no rehearsal time at all, you guys are told, okay, now the band's all been rehearsing. Now you step up on stage and be the lead singer, because you know, you're like, it's kind of it's a little unfair now that I think about it, but yeah, it's the way
we
it is.
We do have the good fortune of previs, which is when the stunt team will basically, if they can get to the location, they will, or they'll recreate.
They always, they recreate. Like, the recreations are so fun. They recreate, like, again, your elevator scene comes to mind in the last one. Like, your elevator was created out of pads, if you remember. Even so much as like a little cardboard panel with the buttons on it. You know, there's and you're right, Ryan. We do have, there is that benefit. You guys could kind of watch the previs, and they do such a great job editing it.
They'll put it all together, and they edit it together with how they think the shots may be, or they'll go off your storyboard. And,
exactly.
And then so we see the sequences and how to, so we can take those home and kind of at least mentally prepare for what's coming on the day. So that's a huge help. Having that.
I always think those would be really fun for people to see, to get to like do a side by side of like one of the pre-visits versus how it turned out in the movie.
No, don't do that. Theirs is always so much better than ours. Damn it. Shout out in the chat, by the way, the lovely Sari Tiersky, who edited the last two. For us in the chat. So happy to see you all back together again. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, thank you.
Really nice to take a walk down memory lane, and really great to see the feedback, people digging the movie. So
hell yes.
Fun to revisit these things and look at some of the photos and everything we took from there.
Yeah.
So, well, we're at about an hour and 20 minutes, folks. So I think we're gonna wrap it up. I think I got through all the.
Your timing couldn't be better. I hear my son crying, so I think
I thought I heard that. My dad.
And then my wife was pregnant in Malta, and then now I hear my son crying. So everything comes full circle.
I love that. And you name? I'm sorry. Remind us, Oliver. Did you name your child Brandon or Zero?
My lips are sealed.
We won't get mad. I won't get mad if it's Zero. I won't.
It's Intelligence Pete.
It's Fanta. Anyway.
Okay, well, Oliver, you go take care of little Intelligence.
Yeah,
I will. Thank you guys. This was very fun. Chad, thanks for having us, and like you said, going down memory lane. A lot of fun.
We appreciate you and your talents, and Ryan and Luna too. We appreciate you and your talents.
And thanks to all the people, asking questions and tuning in and watching the movies and being fans. Like we, really grateful for that. Thank you so much.
All right.
We make these for you. So I hope you keep coming back.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
They better. Awesome.
They better.
Ryan, Luna, Oliver, I'll say goodbye.
All right, guys.
We'll talk soon, friends.
All right. Bye-bye, guys. Nice to see you all.
Bye.
See you all.
Bye. All right, everyone. Good guests. A lot of fun. Good peeps. Hold on. I need to find some sort of a view there. There we go. That's cool. Let's keep the poster up. So there you have it, friends. Let me know. I'll post it online and everything for people that might have missed. Of course, it'll live here on YouTube. But thanks everyone for coming out. Really appreciate you all stopping by. Great questions as always, and thanks for humoring us as we caught up like old friends do. So we had a fun time shooting this one, and it was a really epic location, which made it all the more chef's kiss, as you will. And Luna got to do the heavy lifting with the fighting stuff, so it was a little bit easier on me and Ryan. I think we had a slightly less bumps and bruises and scrapes on this one than we would normally experience and everything too. So if you haven't checked it out, I think I pinned it at the top. If you're in the States, you can get it on digital VOD anywhere. There's a DVD out now that's on Amazon. I posted the link, I believe, at the top of the chat here as well. So appreciate you and your support of the Sniper franchise as always. Hopefully we'll bring you more. No news to bring to you on that front too, as it's above my pay grade, as I like to say, but for sure we'll let you know the second that we can. So anyway, spread the word, and everybody, if I don't connect with you before then, happy holidays wherever you are in the world, and thank you very much for joining. Brandon Beckett, going dark.